Oh, you thought fake eyelashes and rented Lambos were the biggest illusions in hip-hop? Think again. Because what if I told you the most jaw-dropping hustle in Harlem history wasn't a mixtape flop or a failed reality show reunion? It was a fake, baby. Yeah, you heard me. A whole imaginary pregnancy cooked up by none other than Chrissy and Camron, Harlem's messiest Bonnie and Clyde. All while Jim Jones, bless his loyal, clueless heart, was snapping bump selfies like it was his first Father's Day. Sit down. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Because what's unraveling right now is a scandal so twisted, so disrespectfully well-planned, it makes Mona Scott Young's messiest plots look like a Sunday school drama. We're talking burner phones, hush payments, Instagram illusions, and baby bump pads straight from the back of a Spirit Halloween store. How did it all come crumbling down? Why is Jim Jones suddenly going live with trembling hands and broken trust? And who's the whistleblower spilling all the receipts like they're handing out mixtapes in Times Square? Buckle up, fam. This ain't just a tea spill, it's a full-blown tidal wave. And when we're done, you'll never trust a baby announcement again. It all started with a whisper, a carefully timed smirk, and one staged Instagram story that turned Harlem upside down. Chrissy, the self-proclaimed ride-or-die who once swore she would never fake anything for clout, suddenly re-emerged with a suspicious baby glow that not even a full ring light setup could explain. And hovering behind her like Harlem's favorite ghost in a pink mink coat was Camron, silent, calculated, and grinning like he just sold out a secret. But let's not act brand new. The streets felt this mess brewing long before the bump appeared. Chrissy wasn't exactly new to the game of manufacturing sympathy and camera time. She'd already finessed multiple reunion checks and staged more relationship drama than a daytime soap. Cam, on the other hand, always operated like Harlem's low-budget villain, charming you with one hand while snatching your wallet with the other. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected them to stoop this low. A whole fake pregnancy. Fabricated. From scratch, complete with altered sonograms, rented baby clothes, and OBGYN paperwork allegedly crafted on a burner laptop in a hotel room. That's not just desperate, that's Olympic-level fraud. But it didn't start with the bump. This scam had roots. It began back when Chrissy noticed her relevance fading faster than her storyline on Love and Hip Hop. Her last TV appearance barely trended. The brands had gone cold, and even Mona Scott Young stopped returning her calls. Meanwhile, Cam's fan base was aging out of the meme economy, and Dipset merch wasn't paying the bills the way it used to. So what do two washed-up reality relics do when they need a payday? Simple. They stage a miracle. According to one anonymous stylist who claims she was paid under the table to adjust Chrissy's wardrobe during her fake pregnancy shoot. The plan was pitched over mimosas at a Harlem rooftop brunch. Chrissy leaned in close, eyes full of desperation, and said, "If people think I'm pregnant again, I'll be trending in 24 hours. Cam didn't flinch. He just smiled, reached into his fur, and pulled out a second phone. Not his regular one, not the one fancy on IG, no, the burner. He texted someone named Dr. Bump and said, "We back in business." From that moment, the machinery kicked in. Old reality producers who'd sworn off working with Chrissy were suddenly getting messages from her new PR team. Cam quietly made amends with a gossip blogger he once dissed in a freestyle. Chrissy followed a dozen maternity brands and started posting cryptic captions, like, "God's timing is always right and blessed beyond measure." The baby scam was officially under construction. Fast forward 3 weeks, and Harlem woke up to a blurry selfie of Chrissy standing in a boutique mirror, her hand suspiciously positioned over a round bump that appeared oddly enough to shift sizes depending on the lighting. The internet exploded. Fan pages reposted it with emotional captions, while others zoomed in and asked, "Why does her belly button look like it's taped on?" Meanwhile, Cam did what Cam always does. He fanned the flames without saying a word. He posted vague stories of baby shoes next to bottles of his branded liquor. He shared an old video clip of Jim Jones tearing up over Chrissy and added the caption, "Some people love the wrong ones too hard." To his shade, it was petty, and it worked. Brands started calling. One maternity vitamin company reportedly offered Chrissy a 5-figure endorsement deal for her pregnancy wellness journey. A podcast for expecting moms invited her to guest host a special episode titled Second Chances and New Life. Cam allegedly demanded a 30% cut. By now, the lie had gone viral. But it didn't stop there. Oh no, these two were ambitious. They hired a disgraced OBGYN who allegedly lost her license years ago for falsifying test results and brought her in on the scheme. Fake appointments were logged. Ultrasounds were doctored. A fake prenatal record was created, saved on an encrypted USB drive, and given to Chrissy to flash around just in case any nosy publicist asked too many questions. Behind closed doors, Chrissy rehearsed crying in the mirror while Cam allegedly laughed in the background, calling her performance Oscar-worthy. And Jim? Poor, blindsided Jim. He was the glue that held the whole illusion together. Posting heartfelt captions, kissing her belly on Instagram Live, even writing a verse about being a father-to-be. He had no idea the bump he was serenading was stuffed with foam and duct tape. He trusted her. He wanted to believe in something pure after all these years of on-again, off-again chaos. And she used that trust like a prop in her low-budget scam. But lies this big don't stay quiet forever. The first crack came from the most unlikely source, a housekeeping lady at a midtown hotel who found a flat belly band in the trash along with 3 unopened bottles of prenatal pills. Suspicious, she took a photo and DM'd it to a Harlem gossip blogger known for blowing up cheating scandals and fake divorces. The photo dropped at 3 a.m. By 6 a.m., Harlem was on fire. The words, "Chrissy fake bump," trended faster than any diss track Cam ever dropped. Screenshots circulated. Side-by-side comparisons popped up showing Chrissy's baby belly at brunch versus her abs on display at a club appearance just 2 nights later. Cam's phone didn't light up with congratulations, it exploded with accusations. Dipset fans flooded his inbox with betrayal memes and snake emojis. Chrissy's lawyer, gone. Her publicist, radio silent. Amona Scott Young, allegedly sent a forward text that read, "I told you so." Still, it could have been contained. The two could have chalked it up to misunderstanding, posted some vague apology, disappeared for a few months, and maybe come back with a redemption arc. But no, because right when things hit peak chaos, another bomb dropped. An anonymous leak posted bank statements, LLC paperwork, and a folder titled Mommy Empire Files, showing hush money being routed through fake companies like Bump Media Consulting and Expecting Queens LLC. Payments were linked to Cam's burner accounts. And some of the wire transfers were labeled things like pregnancy performance, bonus, and belly band replacements. That was the moment it stopped being just internet tea. It became something darker, something criminal. TikTok detectives lined up receipts. Reddit threads lit up. Even old VH1 editors jumped in the comments with cryptic messages like we always knew something was off, but this. And right in the middle of the growing blaze stood Jim Jones, blindsided, betrayed, and broken. He went live in a dim room, hoodie on, eyes glazed, barely able to speak. His voice cracked as he said, "I really thought I was about to be a father. Y'all laughing, but I was ready to change everything. She let me believe." His words echoed like a funeral. It's a funeral for love, for trust, and for the last shred of loyalty Harlem thought it had left. The recording spread like wildfire, igniting every timeline from Harlem barbershops to suburban Facebook groups. The audio was unmistakably Cam's.com, cocky and careless, instructing Chrissy to perform sadness like a method actor chasing an Oscar. The clip didn't just confirm the fake pregnancy scheme. It exposed the emotional manipulation these two weaponized to keep the checks flowing and the cameras rolling. Fans who once rooted for Chrissy as a misunderstood woman navigating love and legacy now saw her as a co-producer in a scam that made even the most scripted reality show look honest. And Jim, his silence was louder than any diss track. He didn't post, didn't go live, didn't blink. He was broken, processing how the woman he called wifey used his heart like a publicity stunt. The internet waited, itching for his reaction. But all they got was a black screen on his story with no sound and no caption. Meanwhile, more receipts began to surface. An anonymous blogger published screenshots of group chats allegedly between Cam, Chrissy, and a shadowy PR fixer. The conversations outlined a 6-month rollout plan labeled with phrases like Bump Introduction Week, Brand Hookups Phase, and Sympathy Arc. The final message in the thread read, "Do not let Jim find out until after final payment clears." That line cracked Harlem's soul in two. What once seemed like sloppy clout chasing now looked like a cold, calculated betrayal. And still, neither Cam nor Chrissy issued a real response. Cam resurfaced for a split second to post a photo of himself on a rooftop with a cigar and a caption that read, "Only God can judge me." It was a weak attempt to reclaim narrative control, but the damage was done. The real puppet master, however, wasn't either of them. Enter Reggie, Cam's former road manager turned secret informant, the man behind the leaks, according to sources. Reggie had been sitting on a digital war chest of dirt ever since Cam allegedly ghosted him on tour payouts years ago. When he heard Cam was profiting off a fake baby while still owing Reggie tens of thousands in unpaid fees, he decided it was time for payback. He reached out to a few disgruntled podcast interns, flipped a few receipts to bloggers for cash, and when that wasn't enough, he dropped the Nuka Google Drive link labeled Final Split Agreement. Inside the folder was a signed contract between Chrissy, Cam, and their PR fixer detailing the entire operation. The document outlined not only the financial breakdown of every brand deal tied to the fake pregnancy, but also a chilling clause that confirmed plans for a staged miscarriage storyline if public interest began to dip. The entire thing was an emotional Ponzi scheme built on lies, tears, and desperation. That's when Harlem erupted, not just online, but in real life. Beauty salons, record stores, juice bars, everyone had an opinion, and none of them were kind. Chrissy became a punchline. Cam became a villain, and Jim became a symbol of how loyalty can be weaponized against the one person still holding on to hope. Mama Jones, never one to stay silent, was caught outside a hair salon going off on a blogger, saying she always knew Chrissy wasn't right. "I told my son not to trust her. She's a snake with lipstick." She snapped before being ushered into an SUV. Her words made it into every gossip blog by sundown. And Harlem had a new chorus to sing. Meanwhile, brands began distancing themselves. The maternity vitamin company that had once proudly sponsored Chrissy's journey issued a cold press release announcing the end of their partnership. A luxury baby boutique that had featured her in promo content deleted every post with her face and replaced it with a simple statement: "We believe in authenticity." More and more companies followed suit, and within a week, Chrissy's influencer House of Cards collapsed. But the real blow came when Homeland Security allegedly opened an inquiry into the fraudulent use of brand funds under the guise of charitable donations. Turns out a fake charity called Momir's Foundation had been created as part of the narrative. The public was told it was a fund to support struggling mothers. The IRS discovered it was a shell used to reroute payments from sponsorships back into Cam and Chrissy's personal accounts. That's not clout chasing. That's federal-level fraud. The whispers of a RICO case turned into full-blown speculation when a photo leaked showing black SUVs, parked outside the apartment of Chrissy's. Cusnell, allegedly the one who forged several digital documents for the scheme. As the walls closed in, Cam went radio silent. No tweets, no freestyles, no cryptic stories. That's how Harlem knew it was real. When Cam's mouth shuts, it's because something bigger is coming. Some fans held out hope for a confession. Others expected a mixtape with explosive bars defending himself. But instead, there was only quiet until Lil Moo popped back up. If you don't know who Lil Moo is, count your blessings. He's a dipsatira, errand boy who used to carry Cam's bags and run his snacks from the corner store. Irrelevant for years, Moo reappeared with a vengeance and, more importantly, a backup drive. He claimed to have old audio files, never before heard voice notes, and receipts that could burn what little reputation Chrissy and Cam had left. Moo teased the content in random live streams, saying he'd leak the files if someone didn't come correct with the money he was owed. It was a mess, and Harlem couldn't look away. Bloggers scrambled. Podcasts speculated. Moo's files allegedly included Cam laughing while Chrissy rehearsed fake doctor's lines. And another clip where she practiced looking devastated in a mirror while Jim was in the next room texting her, "I love you, baby. We got this." Harlem didn't cry. Harlem didn't even flinch. Harlem lit up like a funeral pyre. Fans created montages of Jim's past Instagram lives with Chrissy, now re-edited with clown music and captions calling him Harlem's last loyal fool. It was cruel. It was viral. And it was the reality of a scandal that no one could unsee. Meanwhile, Mona Scott Young, the queen of turning mess into ratings, wanted no part of this circus. She allegedly declined every interview request, every podcast invite, every panel opportunity to discuss the fallout. Her only response was a bland email stating that Miss Lampkin is not under contract with any of their shows and that they have no comment on ongoing legal matters. Translation. By the time No More Puppets reached its 100,000th stream, Harlem wasn't just mourning a fallen crew, it was dissecting a legacy built on illusion. But just when everyone thought the final chapter had been written, one last leak detonated the remnants of Chrissy and Cam's reputations into oblivion. It was that dreaded hush file, the original agreement that mapped out exactly how the fake baby profits were to be split. Someone anonymous, likely Reggie on a burner account, dumped it in a random comment thread. No press, no pre-roll, just a Google Drive link labeled Final Split Agreement. Within hours, the contents were being screen recorded, translated, broken down, and stitched into every messy podcast and gossip blog from Harlem to Houston. Inside were wire transfer instructions, receipts from fake prenatal vendors, a clause stating that if Jim ever found out before the payout cleared, they'd both forfeit a percentage. And most damning of all, a time-stamped contract signed by Chrissy, Cam, and a shadowy PR fixer that confirmed everything. But this wasn't just about money anymore. It was about intention. The fact that they went as far as to create a miscarriage arc for public sympathy revealed a level of cold calculation that rattled even the messiest corners of social media. TikTok detectives dragged every timestamp, every blurry paparazzi shot, every caption from Chrissy's once glamorous Instagram feed and pieced together a documentary of deception. Meanwhile, Jim vanished from socials entirely. No lives, no tracks, no interviews. The man who once stood 10 toes down as Harlem's most loyal soldier had gone ghost, and his silence was the heaviest thing in the air. But the internet doesn't do silence. As the hush file went viral, another name resurfaced, Mama Jones, once again caught on camera. This time, not in a hair salon, but outside a courthouse. She spoke to reporters like a woman fed up with filters and fake stories. My son gave everything to that woman: his name, his heart, his future. And she gave him paperwork and lies. Her rawness hit different this time. It wasn't petty. Was maternal grief turned righteous fire? And Harlem listened. She even pulled out a wrinkled letter Jim had written her years ago about how Chrissy was the one. Reporters snapped photos. Blogs posted the letter. The heartbreak was no longer speculation. It was documented, framed, and dissected like a crime scene. But even in destruction, some folks want a seat at the chaos. Cue Lil Moo again, this time teasing a full interview on a rising podcast where he promised to play unreleased voice memos of Cam, laughing about baby bump contracts and calling Jim too soft to run Harlem. Clips leaked within hours. One in particular hit hard Cam on a call, allegedly saying, "She just gotta cry at the right time, bro. That's what sells." Let Jimmy think it's real. He's always been a fan of the fantasy. That audio alone had the streets sizzling with betrayal, and Jim's name began trending once again this time. As a man who stood for real while being played by two people selling fiction. Meanwhile, federal eyes weren't blinking. An IRS memo began circulating online, showing a flagged list of donations linked to a foundation called Momir's Hope. The problem? That same name appeared in the hush file as a fake charity, designed to launder sponsorship money, wire fraud, charity fraud, misuse of brand funds. This wasn't just tabloid mess anymore. It was a potential federal case. One agent off the record allegedly told a blogger, "This isn't about fame. This is about falsifying documents, misleading donors, and moving cash like a criminal enterprise." And that's before we even get to the emotional manipulation. Suddenly, reunion specials and brand deals turned into possible subpoenas and courtroom drama. And while Chrissy tried to fade from the spotlight, she couldn't escape the blowback. A boutique brand she had modeled for released a brutal public statement calling her participation in the scam deeply disappointing and announced a lawsuit for damages to their reputation. Other brands followed. A baby product company scrubbed their entire campaign featuring Chrissy. One even edited her out of a commercial entirely and re-released it. The erasure was surgical. Cam, ever the villain, took a different approach. He jumped back on Instagram Live wearing sunglasses indoors, sipping from a red cup, leaning into the chaos with smug arrogance. "Y'all mad 'cause I know how to make $1, he said. "Y'all act like you wouldn't do the same if the camera was on you. Jim wanted a fairy tale. I gave Harlem a headline." That live sent the internet spiraling. Some called it masterful trolling. Others said it was the final nail in his coffin. Either way, the reaction was split. One thing was certain. The man wasn't hiding. He was monetizing. But what about Jim? The man at the center of it all. The heart that got stomped out for a storyline. 3 days after Cam's IG rant, a blurry SoundCloud upload titled "Betrayed But Breathing" appeared. It was Jim. No beat. Just pain. A cappella bars about broken bonds, fake babies, and loving someone so hard you forget to check for knives. Harlem didn't just listen. It stood still. Every block, every shop, every car seemed to be echoing the words of a man who gave everything and got back theater. The freestyle ended with a line that left everyone frozen. "They faked life to kill. Mine, and I still took the fall." It wasn't just a bar. It was a confession wrapped in poetry. A man laying his soul bare after being played on a public stage. No gimmicks, no sponsors, just truth. But Harlem doesn't pause for reflection long. The final twist came from the most unexpected place: Chrissy's former assistant, who dropped a voice note in a private gossip group that soon went viral. In it, she claimed Chrissy once told her, "We're not lying, we're just curating reality." That phrase summed up the whole disaster. It wasn't just a scam, it was a rebranded, monetized, weaponized illusion designed to hijack sympathy and sell a fairy tale that never existed. Now, as federal investigations loom, brand deals vanish, and once loyal fans abandon ship. The question remains, what legacy did Dipset really leave behind? Brotherhood? Betrayal? Clout over conscience? Whatever the answer, one thing's for sure: Harlem will never forget the baby that never was. So now that every dirty layer has been peeled back and every fake tear exposed, we've got to ask, where do you stand? Was Jim Jones just a loyal man blinded by love? Or should he have known better than to trust a reality show romance wrapped in Instagram filters and burner phones? Is Camron Harlem's boldest villain, or just a desperate hustler chasing one? Last headline. And Chrissy, was she the mastermind? The puppet? Or just another player too deep in the game to back out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we're reading every savage theory, every roast, every defense. Don't hold back. This scandal has already broken every rule, so your opinions should too. And trust, the drama isn't over. The streets are still buzzing. More voice memos are allegedly on the way. And if Lil Moo ever drops that hard drive, it's game over. So hit that like button if you're still clutching your imaginary pearls. Smash that subscribe so you don't miss the next explosive chapter. And share this with your messiest friend, the one who swore Dipset was untouchable. Because in Harlem, no lie stays hidden forever and no loyalty goes unpunished. Stay petty, stay tuned, stay tuned.